Yo! Video games.
So recently, I got to see an early screening of The Boy and the Heron, otherwise known as How Do You Live in Japan. I guess they opened early in LA and New York because, LA, New York being LA, New York. So, yeah, if you live in LA or New York right now, you can actually go see Miyazaki's latest film a couple weeks early. So, me and Nadia jumped on the opportunity. And obviously, we loved the film, and I don't want to talk too much about that film, even when we get to the ranking section of it. But either way, I think it's about time I re-ranked my favorite Miyazaki films. This is not a list of every Ghibli film ever made, obviously, because it doesn't have the great Isao Takahata's works. It doesn't have that other guy who made The Borrowers and When Marnie Was There. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. It doesn't have the other poor soul who made Whisper of the Heart. Those Miyazaki was involved in those films, obviously, and obviously it doesn't have anything with Goro Miyazaki in it. But I'm going to rank the Miyazaki directed film, and this actually goes beyond Ghibli. So there's a couple things that are not technically Studio Ghibli, but I'm going to rank him anyways. So it's time to re-rank the best Miyazaki films that he has directed. So I'm going to go, I'll just go by, well, I guess I'm killing the lead early, even no matter what way I go. But I'll go by how they're listed here in this tier list and then kind of maybe go from there. No, I'll go... No, I'll go release order. Release order will be better. Okay, so the first film that Hayao Miyazaki directed that was a film, theatrical, is Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro. And if you ever watch this movie, it's incredible how much it influenced so much stuff. You watch the movie and you see like stuff all the way as far out as Resident Evil 4 taking massive inspiration from the film. There's so many like little like moments that were used as gameplay segments and stuff like Resident Evil 4 and stuff. And the crazy car chase. It's a wonderful film. It's a great movie. We'll see where I get to the ranking, because first I'll put them in a category and then I'll sort of like rethink and rejumble them to actually ranking it. But Castle of Cagliostro is a fantastic film. It's had multiple English dubs. One of them has David Hayter as Lupin III. It does actually a really great job. I've only seen one of the dub tracks for this movie, but it's a great time. It should be easy enough to find. I think G Kids has also been distributing this film as well. Really cool film, 70s spy film, but done in a very Miyazaki way. Just gorgeous, breathtaking scenery, an interesting plot, stuff like that. So yeah, Castle of Cagliostro. I highly recommend this film. It is a great film. None of these films are bad. You will probably find something to enjoy in every one of these movies. If you don't like, in some way, even on a some level, if you don't like any of these films, there might be something wrong with you as a human being. You may not have a soul. So that's what I got to say. Next on here is Ponyo. Ponyo is interesting because it's really good, but it is a very pointed, direct movie. He made this movie for the grandkids of the animators at the studio. It was made, like, there are some movies, and I know people kind of don't understand this, but there are movies made for all ages, and then there are movies made for children. And there is a distinction and a huge difference there. And a good example of that is something like Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is an all ages show. It is not made for children. It is on a children's television network, and it was, budgeted and produced by a company that makes products primarily for the boy 6 to 11 crowd. But the creator intent of that show was all ages, but it had to go through the studio system of being directly marketed at children. So Ponyo is a movie made for children, very specifically. It's not made for all ages. It's not made for adults. It's not going to have adult humor or anything like that. It's made for children to enjoy. So it has a very, just sort of like fantastical plot. It's fantastical in the sense where like stuff doesn't make sense at all if you put any thought into it. It just sounds silly. But it's like a fairy tale. It's like a kid's book, right? It's like Dr. Seuss or something. For what it is, it's fantastic. Animation is great. It uses a watercolor background style. It's got good messaging and whatever, but like, it's for kids in a way that none of his other movies are actually for kids. This one makes it maybe Totoro, but this one is definitely for children in particular. But it is still very good. And then we have How Do You Live, otherwise known as The Boy and the Heron. This is the cover of the book, because whoever made this poll made it before there was an official movie poster. I'm going out on a limb and saying it's his 4th best movie. And I don't want to talk about it, because it's only been out in New York and LA for 1 day. And it's not going to go to the rest of the country until December 8th. And y'all need to see it. You need to see this movie, and you need to see it without watching. Please don't watch the trailer. Please don't watch the trailer, please. Please don't look at images. Please ignore. Please try to like not look at anything. Like, this isn't even an image from the movie, it's an image of the book. Please don't look at anything. Just go in and enjoy the movie. I love it. Loved it. But it is a movie that took 7 years to make, 5 years of production of just animating it. They went very slowly. There was 0 advertising in Japan. Japan had no advertising, no trailers, no images, no nothing. They put out one poster that was just a drawing, a sketch of Miyazaki made for the movie, and that was it. And nothing else. They let it go by word of mouth alone. It was a book it's not based on the book. That's all I'm going to say. It's not based on them. And if you've ever seen Miyazaki adapt any book, you know that means nothing. So, yeah. So go see The Boy and the Heron when it comes out on December 8th. It is a film. It is a film made with no regard to shareholders, no regard to advertisement, no regard to making any money to keep the studio afloat. He didn't give any amount of F's towards anyone. It is just a movie that a creative filmmaker thought up and went and got and took the money that the producer got from selling the streaming rights to the back catalog and just made a movie. No one was there to tell him anything about it. So, if you're looking for stability, 3-act structure, cinema. This is cinema. This is true cinema, because The Boy and the Heron is cinema. It is art. A movie like Wish is a product. It is a product made to be content for a service they provide. This is a movie. Absolute cinema. Like, this is absolutely, like, just go see Boy and the Heron. Like, especially if you're artistically minded, if you enjoy the aspect of art and animation, it'll be great. You'll love it. So you gotta see it. Mononoke, definitely one of my first loves. What can be said about Mononoke that doesn't exist? I still think Mononoke is one of his best movies. Way up there. Mononoke is some top tier stuff, right? Yeah. It is my first, and it is. I still think it's definitely got one of the strongest messages, one of the strongest themes, characters, whatever. Just phenomenal film. It's a better version of Nausicaa, basically. Though it's based on historical fantasy rather than post-apocalyptic fantasy. But Princess Mononoke is one of the best films ever made. Period. Howl's Moving Castle. Oh man, it's a great movie. It is a little confusing where it's going with the plot, but it's like I don't care that it doesn't quite have a very consistent narrative. Like it doesn't follow like we need to get here, and the movie is the journey of getting from A to B. It's a movie where things happen. Kind of happenstance. I don't know. It's beautiful. Howl's Moving Castle is great. The soundtrack might be one of Joe Hisashi's best, like some of the best animation, period. It's very good. I think it's underrated even in a way. The flow's a little weird, but it's so good you don't care. And I think there's some really good stuff in Howl. Howl is up there for me for sure. Oh boy, The Wind Rises. Ooh. Wind Rises is a masterpiece, but it's his least fantastical film, period. It was going to be his swan song. It's very, very, very good, but and it's funny because he got criticized on both sides from ultranationalists and peace, and ultra pacifists for his portrayal. Because it's a biographical drama of an engineer who designed the zero-wing fighter plane for Japan in World War II. But it's not about the war. And it definitely has an anti-war message, but it neither demonizes nor glorifies both the character or Japan. It just takes a very pointed kind of this is about the character. It's not trying to say anything about one way or another about the effects or the consequences of the actions of the main character. It does address them, but it's not the point of the movie. It is kind of a little bit like Oppenheimer. A little bit. It's kind of it basically is Japan's version of Oppenheimer, if nothing else. It's basically that. But yeah, very good. Oh, Porco Rosso. This just beautiful film. Beautiful, fun. It has a consistent narrative, but it's not heavy on narrative. Porco Rosso is great. I've highly underrated Miyazaki film. It is a lot of people's favorites, and I totally get it. I do want to see the French dub someday because it has Jean Reno as Porco. Michael Keaton, I thought, did okay. I thought he was actually going to do better than he did when I heard Michael Keaton was going to be Porco. Cary Elwes is amazing as Donald Curtis. It's very fun. It's very relaxing, cool movie. Very anti-fascist film, if anything. Porco is it's interesting because it's a PG movie. It's not even PG-13, but like the themes and characters are all adults, older adults. So it's kind of like a kid could watch it, but like I don't know how much they would get out of it. Great movie. Spirited Away. It's good. It's beautiful. It's probably my least watched Miyazaki film. I don't have anything bad to say about the movie. It's just whimsy. And for a lot of people, that's kind of what they want. That's all they really want. And I like the movie, and it's basically a story about a girl basically having to like roll up her sleeves and learn how to do an honest day's work, learn how to be responsible, learn how to be a responsible adult or a responsible human being. And it's fantastic, and the visuals are phenomenal, and everything's great about it, but it's kind of a movie where beautiful, wonderful, magical things happen, and that's basically it. And the girl learns responsibility. The music's great in it. I don't think I have a bad thing to say about the movie. I just don't watch it as much as the others. It's a great movie. I like it, but like, if all you want out of Miyazaki is imagery and whimsy, it'll probably be your favorite. If that's all you want out of a Miyazaki movie is imagery and whimsy. If you want a statement on something, if you want something more philosophical or metaphorical, not really getting it out of Spirited Away. You're getting pure, 100%, unfiltered, imagery and whimsy. So don't eat other people's food. So that's what, and that's why it's great. But it's kind of like, what are you looking for? What do you get out of a Miyazaki film? Because if you're looking for anything more than just pure beauty, whimsy, and like just great animation and whimsy, if you're wanting more, you probably may not be getting all that out of Spirited Away. It's very much just like, and that's kind of like short selling the plot, because there is a plot and there is characters and they do go through things and things happen, and it is great, but I don't feel narratively it's as strong as maybe some of the others, I guess. I don't know, or maybe it's the main character that it's like, she does the actress in both the dub and the sub do a great job. It's Lilo's voice in English, by the way. What's up, Fat Albert? Bad Miyazaki doesn't exist. No, it does not. But yeah, if you kind of just want to just see whimsical things happen, watch Spirited Away. But I just don't watch it as much as the others. I have them. I own them all physical, but I don't watch Spirited Away as much as the others. Just for the reasons that it's like it's good. I just, for whatever reason, it didn't. It's cool. I don't know. This is the best movie ever made by a human being. Period. It's Castle in the Sky. Castle in the Sky is the Nicole Kidman's AMC reason we go to the movies movie for me. This is absolutely perfectly paced, perfectly written. Just, it does everything right. Everything right. However, the caveat for me is that like I vastly prefer the 2003 dub cut of the film, which does not exist anywhere outside of the 2003 DVD of the movie. But yeah, like, Castle in the Sky is not a movie that's like, oh, it made you think, it's gonna make you cry, it's gonna like make you reshape your view of the world. It's not Grave of the Fireflies. It's not even Mononoke when it comes to, heavy thematic or anything like that. It's just, this is why people made movies. This is why movies were created. It's like like the most classic, Errol Flynn swashbuckling, like fantastical, it's a story that could only really be told and brought justice in this medium of cinema. So, love the movie. Everything about it is great because like it has an intriguing plot and it has an interesting journey, and then it doesn't do the thing where like you see the MacGuffin for 5 seconds or two minutes of screen time at the end of the movie. They spend time everywhere. They spend time, you know, in setting the stage. They spend time getting to where they're going. They spend time at their destination. Like, the dub is fantastic. Mark Hamill and Cloris Leachman kill it. Like, kill their roles hard. Mark Hamill does a better job in dub than even the sub. It's every single JRPG you have ever played has taken something from this movie. You will see imagery in this movie that you have seen in dozens of video games. Devil May Cry 3, Star Ocean. Like, you'll see stuff that's just copied wholesale in every JRPG, almost, you know, action games. And, you know, there are 2 movies that Japan has liberally ripped off, and it's Aliens and Castle in the Sky. They both came out the same year. So, yeah, it basically invented the JRPG genre. It's insane because it came out in 1986. You know, not before RPGs existed, but like the inspiration in this movie is insanity. Yeah, so this movie was just so influential, and it's actually Ghibli's first official release was Castle in the Sky. So it's not his deepest film, but it's his best film. This is an FU, it's a 10. If any movie was FU, it's a 10, it's this movie. So, I don't think it's going to be everyone's favorite. I don't think it's going to be a lot of people's favorite. I think Mononoke and Spirited Away is going to be most people's favorites overall. But for my money, it's Castle in the Sky. Like 100%. Buddy, it's a 20. FU, it's a 20. So, yes, that's how I feel about that. Kiki. Kiki's fine. Kiki's good. But it kind of has a very similar thing to Spirited Away, where it's like, it's a movie about a girl growing up and things happen around her. That's kind of it. It's cute. It's a classic. It's great. Phil Hartman does great. Again, there is a 97 VHS version that's also the same as the 2003 DVD. And then every version of Kiki's Delivery Service after the 2003 DVD re-release is different. A lot of Phil Hartman lines were cut out. So if you can ever find the 2003 DVD edit of Kiki's Delivery Service, go for it. You'll find a lot more Phil Hartman there. It's a classic. It's great. But it's just a pleasant film. Why? So the reason why the 2003... Okay, so here's the deal. The 2003 DVD releases of Castle in the Sky and Kiki's Delivery Service were actually dubbed in the mid to late 90s. They were dubbed right after Disney made a deal in the mid-90s to distribute the Ghibli films worldwide. And they thought they were going to release Princess Mononoke theatrically and have like some big hit on their hands, and then they got a hold of Princess Mononoke and were like, oh crap, it's got decapitations and dismemberment and ton of blood. Oh god, we can't release this as a Disney film. And per their contract, they were not allowed to make any edits or altercations to any of the films, so they dumped it off to Miramax. And Harvey Weinstein, you know, the pig that he is, tried to literally strong-arm Studio Ghibli into making cuts into the movie so he could release it as like a PG or G film. And Suzuki sent him a katana with a note saying no cuts straight to his office, and that was the end of it. So yeah. Anyways, after 2003, when so the point is, in the mid-90s, when they got access to all of Ghibli's back catalog at the time, which is 97, 95, 96, 97, they dubbed Kiki's and they dubbed Castle in the Sky. And their method of dubbing the film was basically, if a character's mouth is moving on screen, put a line there. And they don't actually do that in the Japanese version of these films because Studio Ghibli films, even in Japan, are animated first. Yes, they do not voice record it first. Absolutely not. They animate the whole film completely. And then they bring in Japanese voice actors, and the Japanese voice actors dub over the finished Ghibli film. It is not done traditionally, even in Japan. So, anyways, when they got the films, Kiki and Castle in the Sky, they were like, well, if someone's mouth is moving on screen, there should be something there. So they added a bunch of lines that are not technically in the Japanese script. And for whatever reason, afterwards, by 2011, when Disney did another re-release of the Ghibli films, they tried to cut out all the added lines they added in there. So you get these really weird, awkward voice clips where characters just stop talking or cut off mid-sentence or start mid-sentence, and it drives me insane because I've seen them both with and without, and I actually think, especially in Castle in the Sky's case, I think the flavor text they added actually adds to the film more than it takes away, and I actually really miss some of the lines. Like, there's this weirdness where, what's up, Flygon Jin? Thank you for jumping in. There's a weirdness where, like, at the beginning of Castle in the Sky, the air pirates are attacking the ship, and they grunt every so often, rather than this whole thing where, like, you'll see them, like, they're scuffling on the tiger moth, and then in the dub they basically added some, like, let's go Louie, like, get it, like, just some. Because you see all these pirates running around, and they're like, all right, give them a couple lines of, like, all right, let's go, get it together, whatever. And they just take that out, and then you just see, like, Dola looking and go, ha, 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 like, kind of it. And there's just, like, this weird thing where like, when Mark Hamill is shooting at Dola at the beginning of Castle in the Sky, it's like, it's Dola. And, like, when he's like, stay out of the way and you won't get hurt. And then it just cuts to, stay out of the way and you won't get hurt. And it's like, well, he was saying, it's Dola, stay out of the way and you won't get hurt. And they just cut that out because it wasn't in the Japanese dub. So they just cut Mark Hamill's line to stay out of the way and you won't get hurt. Like, from complete silence to that. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. So, anyways, they tried to basically cut a bunch of added lines they added in to the 90s dubs of Castle in the Sky and Laputa, and then all it is just a chopped up audio version of it. But, like, that's the one most people have seen. It's the one they put in theaters every year. It's like, there's times watching, like, these films and, like, there's literally people going to complete silence, and they're dead. It'll be a character dead center of the screen, or he just goes. Like, there's a character where, like, they're trying, like, Patsu is inside, like, this little crawl space at the end, near the end of Castle in the Sky, and, like, Mark Hamill tells him, like, we've caught a little pirate, and there's one more beneath your feet. And this soldier is, like, looking over the edge, and another soldier's, like, holding his arm, and he goes. And in the dub, the original 2003 dub, he goes, "Give me a grenade!" And he takes a grenade and he throws a grenade into the crawl space that Patsu's in. But in the current version that's in theaters and on DVDs and Blu-rays you can get from G-Kids, he just goes and throws a grenade in. And it's like, why? Oh, because that wasn't in the Japanese dub. And I'm like, still, like, I feel that line was good because they're like, he goes, "Give me a grenade," and then because his mouth is sitting there moving and he's dead center of screen. These are nitpicks, but I have literally tried to contact G-Kids multiple times about whether or not there would be possible to maybe get a multiple track audio, release on Blu-ray or whatever. They have never responded. If anyone knows anyone at G-Kids, shoot me something. I would love to get, some word in or there or whatever. But yeah, like, even the sub version where it's just like the character doesn't say anything, so it's like, I feel there should have been a line there. Even if there wasn't a line there in Japanese, there should have been a line there. Like, I feel the addition of the line in the dub was actually a good thing. So, but anyways, yeah, Castle Sky 2003 version, absolute favorite. Best movie ever made. My Neighbor Totoro. It's like, it's definitely more of like, you know, hey, this airs more on the childhood whimsy, side, but still perfect. There's not a bad thing I could say about Totoro. It does kind of just end. Like, they present a conflict so late into the movie, and they resolve the conflict, and then movie's over. And it's a very minor conflict. It's really just like a sister gets lost, and they find the sister. The end. Still perfect. Wonderful music, everything. It's a movie where absolutely nothing happens, and it's still perfect. The best movie about nothing. It's about two girls move to a countryside home, and that's it. And then they discover there's creatures in the forest living around them. Literally nothing else happens. It's a film it is peak slice of life. Yeah, it just feels like summer break. It's a perfect film, but like nothing happens in it. And last is Nausicaa. Okay. Not a Ghibli film. It was actually made before Studio Ghibli was founded, but Ghibli bought the rights to it, or got the rights to it immediately. So it's considered a Ghibli film. It was made by people who would become Ghibli animators. It was made by like a small studio, like two small studios, kind of like all working in tandem to make the movie, because Ghibli didn't exist when they made it. But yeah, so it's time. It's time to rank these. Time to officially. Cats of the Sky is absolutely number one, and Princess Mononoke is there too. I guess I'll just for clarity's sake, Castle in the Sky is my absolute favorite. And I think Princess Mononoke is definitely number two. Number three is tough, because I feel like it probably just should be Totoro, being that it's a movie about nothing and it's still perfect. I feel like after the first two, after Mononoke, I don't even know where to rank these movies because they're all perfect. I think I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave Totoro there in number three. How Do You Live / The Boy and the Heron is number four, and I can't talk to you about that movie. Can't tell you anything. I loved it, and I wasn't sure at first. I was like, about middle. I was like middle of the road, and my immediate reaction was about mid-level Miyazaki. Maybe airing a little wobbly on the lower end, maybe a little bit. And then I saw it a second time the same day, and I thought about it, and it just stayed in my head all night long. And I was like, you know what? I think I love this movie. I think this movie's genius. I think this movie is genius. So I'm gonna say How Do You Live / The Boy and the Heron is his fourth best film. And I'm gonna say The Wind Rises is probably his fifth best. There's some deep stuff in Wind Rises. Some really amazing. Okay, there's an amazing part in Wind Rises that I never see anyone talk about, and I don't know if I don't think anyone understands how geopolitically significant it actually is there's a scene in Wind Rises when Jiro, the Japanese engineer, he gets sent to Germany to go work with and learn from the German engineering, because here's a little thing anyone who World War II historian knows. German engineering was top of the line. In fact, it was easily arguable that German engineering was the best engineering on the planet when World War II was going on. Yes, Decibiotic knows. There's a scene where him and his friend are just like walking to their apartment at night, or their hotel at night, and they literally see you don't know what it is, but you see someone running away, from the authorities, and it's basically acknowledging what was going on in Germany at the time, the persecution of Jewish people, in the whole Warsaw and everything. And so, like, there's actually a scene where he literally sees for a moment the evilness that's going on in Germany. And the movie doesn't sit there and, they don't sit there and talk about it or pontificate on it, but it just kind of shows it very directly and plainly, like, this is what's going on in the world. Like, the Axis, they're the bad guys. Yeah. And I thought that was, I thought that was really significant coming from a Japanese man who, making a movie mostly pretty much for the Japanese audience, it's he's actually acknowledging the atrocities that were going on in Germany at the time. The timing and placing of when he's in Germany for what he's doing, and basically for Miyazaki to outright acknowledge, they were persecuting people. People were running and hiding for their lives just for being alive there. I was like, dang! I would never have expected, the human rights violations of Germany in the 30s to be brought up in a Miyazaki movie. But there you go, it's there. It's not a very long scene. It's not even a significant part of the movie, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's almost like it flows back into the rest of the movie, where it's kind of like, why didn't this guy realize what he's doing? I think he did, but he was obsessed. He's Oppenheimer in a way. So, small scene, but yes, but the fact that it's there at all is astounding. Geopolitically, it's very significant that a Japanese director would acknowledge something like that going on. Oh, boy. Now this is where it gets tricky, because there's my top 5. Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro, Boy and the Heron, Wind Rises. I think Porco Rosso is a better film than Nausicaa. I think it's a better film than Nausicaa. But I think I like Nausicaa more. I think Nausicaa to me is on a more personal level. I think I like what's going on with Nausicaa more. The creativity, the world building, the everything in even though Nausicaa has a sort of rushed ending that even Japan hates. I'm gonna have to sit there and say I think I like Nausicaa maybe a little more as a film than Porco Rosso, but I think Porco Rosso is a better film. And I can feel comfortable saying that. And this is where it also gets hard between Howl's and Castle of Cagliostro. I think Castle of Cagliostro, I think it's a better film. I think Castle of Cagliostro is a better film than Howl's Moving Castle, but I also think Howl's Moving Castle is just so dang beautiful. Howl's is a more entertaining. Oh god, these are these are kind of like neck and neck, guys. I don't even know. This is I don't think I don't think I can emphasize the hair split of these films. Where I think Howl's is more entertaining to watch, barely. But I think Castle of Cagliostro is a better structured, written, produced film. Like as a story narrative, I think Castle of Cagliostro is definitely better than Howl's, but like there's something about Howl's that just like it's in captivating, you know, enchanting, I guess, that like makes it just, I don't know. And that kind of goes even for Porco Rosso or Howl's, where like again, it's kind of a splitting of hairs here. Where it's like, which one would I rather watch? I don't know. Either. Both. Yeah, just mesmerizing atmosphere. And that kind of boils down to like, well, do you just want imagery and whimsy, or do you want something else? I mean, Castle's not deep or anything. It's the equivalent of a James Bond film, but James Bond by way of Miyazaki. And that gets down here to good, just not my favorite, and that's... I think I'm pretty comfortable with this ranking here, with Kiki, Ponyo's. Spirited Away is absolutely a better film than Ponyo. It's probably a better film. It's honestly a better film than Kiki's is, honestly. I just don't, for whatever reason, watch it as much as the others. It's a beautiful film. And all three of these films feel like they're beautiful and things happen in them, and that's the movie. But I think overall, since we're at 12 Miyazaki films now, I would say my absolute favorite is Castle in the Sky, followed by Princess Mononoke, followed by My Neighbor Totoro, followed by The Boy and the Heron, then The Wind Rises. Even though Wind Rises is a tough one to rewatch. Wind Rises might be the toughest to rewatch just because it's so grounded, and it's sad, and it's like it reality hits you like a brick in that movie. But dang, is it good. Nausicaa after that, and I mean this area of like anything below the top 5 is like the immediate 4 are like flip a coin, bro. I can't describe how close these films are between Nausicaa and Porco Rosso, Howl's Moving Castle, and Castle Cagliostro. These films could almost go in any order, but just like splitting hairs here, I guess I'd rank them this way. And then, you know, rounding out the last 3 is Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo, and Spirited Away, which are all wonderful, great films. But they are kind of they're mostly just whimsy. Takahata. People wouldn't like it if I did a Takahata tier list because I don't think Pompoko is. Pompoko is more of like, it's fun, but it's like, it's like, I don't know if Boy and the Heron will be his last film. I think he stated he's gonna just go back and do more films. He's not even trying to pretend like he's retired anymore. It just depends if he lives long enough, because it took 10 years between Wind Rises and Boy and the Heron. So, you know, if they get the train rolling faster, maybe not. But yeah, like yeah, Boy and the Heron is there's absolutely a lot of metaphor there. There's definitely a lot to read into that movie, but it's also, if you're an artist, if you enjoy art, like, that movie is indulgent with how much it just is like, hey, we're gonna animate the crap out of this movie. We're gonna draw the absolute F out of this film, and these scenes and these backgrounds, and like nothing is wasted. Nothing feels half-assed. Nothing feels budget or anything. Like Boy and the Heron is just kind of like, it's like, no, we're gonna make everything top tier. It's funny, he should do whatever he wants to, and and here's the thing: Miyazaki doing whatever he wants to do is The Boy and the Heron, 100%. So I am happy with this tier list as it is, but yeah. So re-ranked, this is my tier 8 list ranking of every Miyazaki directed film he's done.